It is 8:43 on a Wednesday night. Kumar is sitting at the dining table in his 5-room HDB in Bedok. His 2 kids are asleep. His wife is in the bedroom. His mother lives 1 floor up. His father passed 3 years ago. He just opened his CPF statement for the first time in 4 years. He is 44 years old. He earns $9,000 a month. He has never missed a payment on anything. He has a car. He upgraded from a 4-room flat 7 years ago. He has MediShield Life. He contributes to CPF every month without fail. By every measure a Singaporean man in his mid-40s uses to tell himself he is doing fine, Kumar is doing fine. The number on the screen says his CPF Life payout at 65 will be $1,200 a month. He does not close the laptop. He opens the calculator. He runs the number against what he spends today. Then he runs it against what things will cost in 21 years. He sits there for a long time. He did not make reckless decisions. He did not gamble. He did not live beyond his means. He made 6 decisions, and each one made complete sense when he made it. That is exactly the problem. The full retirement sum in 2026 is $220,400. Hit that, put it into CPF Life Standard Plan, and you receive $1,780 a month from 65. That sounds like a plan. The Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy calculated what a single elderly person actually needs in Singapore for the basics: food, transport, utilities, medication, nothing else. $1,492 a month. Not a holiday, not dinner out, not a grandchild's ang pao. CPF Life at the full retirement sum clears that floor by $288. And the Sing Life Financial Freedom Index found that what Singaporeans themselves say they want to spend in retirement is $2,856 a month. The gap between what the system delivers at its recommended target and what people actually want, over $1,000 every month for life. Now the part most people do not know until they sell. Every dollar you pulled from your ordinary account to pay your mortgage did not just leave your CPF. The board kept tracking what it would have earned at 2.5%, compounded monthly, for every year you held the property. When you sell, you refund the principal plus every dollar of that accrued interest. Not as a penalty, as a restoration of your retirement savings. The cash you walk away with is materially smaller than you imagined. Kumar has been paying his mortgage entirely from his OA for 7 years. The accrued interest on his account is now over $60,000. If he sells tomorrow, almost all of it returns to CPF. The money is not gone, but the cash retirement he pictured from selling his flat does not exist the way he pictured it. The system is working exactly as it was designed to work. Kumar's mistake was assuming the system was his entire plan. CPF is the floor. The floor is not the house. Log into cpf.gov.sg. Go to the retirement dashboard. Write down your projected monthly payout. Then write down 2,856. The distance between those two numbers is the retirement you are responsible for building. Not CPF. You. Wei Lin is 47. HR Director, Bishan. She earns $11,000 a month and she has a Toyota Alphard she bought 3 years ago. Category B COE, at the time, around $115,000. The car, all in, cleared $190,000. She does not think of herself as someone who spends carelessly. She thinks of herself as someone who works hard and drives her family in comfort. In the first exercise of June 2026, Category A, COE, closed at $126,009. Category B at $126,989. A basic Category A family sedan, not a prestige brand, a Corolla, leaves the showroom above $160,000 all in. Over 10 years, including depreciation, insurance, road tax, parking, petrol, and maintenance, the total cost of owning a mid-range car in Singapore runs between $200,000 and $300,000. That is not a worst case. That is the average. The same Corolla in the United States sells for 37,000 Singapore dollars. $200,000 invested in CSPX, the Irish domiciled S&P 500 ETF, that attracts 15% dividend withholding tax instead of the 30% charged on the American domiciled VOO. At 7% annual return over 20 years, becomes $774,000. Sitting in a car park. 60% of Singaporeans use MRT as their primary transport. A monthly concession pass costs around $120. The network connects every residential estate on this island. The car in Singapore does not solve a transport problem. It solves a status problem. And that solution costs between $200,000 and $300,000 per decade. Wei Lin is not irrational, but she made a $200,000 lifestyle decision without ever seeing what that number becomes in 20 years. Go to smartcalculator.sg. Run the total ownership cost calculator on your car. Get the 10-year number. Then put that same amount into a compound interest calculator at 7% for 20 years. Look at both sides. Then decide. Priya is 38, senior engineer. She and her husband sold their Tampines 4-room HDB after MOP and upgraded to a condo in Clementi. Purchase price? $1,040,000. Their combined income is $18,000 a month. TDSR cleared comfortably. The bank approved the loan the same week they applied. The numbers worked. They were careful. That is what makes this the most dangerous mistake on this list. Their mortgage went from $850 a month to $2,600. The difference? $1,750 came from their monthly surplus. It was affordable. They did not feel it. What they did not notice was that $1,750 a month was also exactly what Priya had been directing into her monthly RSP into CSPX. It stopped the month they signed the OTP. She told herself she would restart it once they settled in. That was 22 months ago. $1,750 a month into CSPX at 7% over 27 years. Because Priya is 38 and CPF Life starts at 65, is approximately $1.7 million. The condo might appreciate. It might not. But appreciation is trapped inside the walls. You cannot spend it. You cannot compound it. You access it only by selling, paying agent fees, paying legal fees, paying ABSD if you buy again, and starting over. And here is what nobody says plainly. The bottom 50% of Singapore households hold 80 to 90% of their net worth inside a single property. The Ministry of Finance published its first official wealth inequality data in February 2026. The wealth Gini is 0.55. The top 20% of households hold average net wealth of $5.3 million. 3.4 million of that is property, but 1.9 million is financial assets. They are not relying on one asset class alone. The people who retire well in Singapore do not choose between property and investments. They build both. The people who struggle choose a better postcode and call it a plan. Every HDB flat in Singapore runs on a 99-year leasehold. A flat completed in 1980 has approximately 54 years of lease remaining today. In 2026, 350,000 HDB flats, one-third of all public housing, are over 35 years old. Once remaining lease crosses 60 years, bank loan tenures shorten and CPF usage gets prorated. The buyer pool shrinks. At 30 years remaining, the flat can only be sold for cash. No CPF, no bank loan. SERS, the program that used to rescue aging estates at generous prices, is officially finished. The government confirmed in August 2025, no new projects. VERS replaces it, but VERS is voluntary. VERS compensation will be less generous. And the first pilots are not expected until the early 2030s. The flat that looks like your retirement nest egg has a countdown clock embedded in it that most owners have never looked at. Before the next property decision, run both scenarios through the CPF retirement dashboard, with the upgrade and without. If your projected monthly payout drops and the gap to what you need widens, you are not improving your life. You are paying for a better view while your retirement gets smaller behind the curtain. Amira is 52. Accountant. Ang Mo Kyo. Her mother is 79 and has early-stage dementia. The domestic helper costs $1,300 a month. The memory clinic, the physiotherapy, the GP visits, another $800. She transfers $1,200 to her mother's household on top of that. That is $3,300 a month, after tax, on top of her own mortgage and her son's polytechnic fees. She has not made a voluntary CPF top-up since 2022. Her SRS account has $500 in it from the year she opened it. She tells herself she will restart contributions when things settle down. The CPF board says this plainly. The years when you should be compounding the hardest, ages 40 to 55, coincide exactly with peak caregiving costs. It is not a coincidence. It is the arithmetic reality of Singapore's demographic structure. In 2023, 19.1% of Singaporeans were 65 or older. A decade earlier, it was 11.7%. By 2030, it will be 24%, nearly 1 in 4. Singapore's elderly population grew 60% in 10 years. The sandwich generation is not a lifestyle choice. It is a mathematical consequence of the country's age structure landing on the generation in the middle. For a family supporting one elderly parent with moderate care needs and 2 school-age children, monthly costs in Singapore run between $7,650 and $21,800 a month. The Silver Support Scheme provides a maximum of $360 a month for eligible low-income seniors. The minimum income standard for a single elderly person, calculated by the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, is $1,492. The gap, $1,132 a month, falls on families. 70% of older workers across Asia-Pacific continue working into their late 60s primarily for financial reasons. Not because they want to, because their savings were consumed by the people they were supporting during the years they should have been compounding. Prudential surveyed 1,000 Singaporeans in July 2025. 94% of baby boomers said they would change their approach to financial planning. They wished they had started 12 years earlier. At 28, not 40. The number one reason they could not? They were spending on everything else and telling themselves there would be time later. If your retirement is underfunded, your children become your safety net. The cycle does not end on its own. Have the conversation with your parents this month. Find out what is in their CPF. whether they have an IP plan, whether their MediSave can support serious medical costs, whether they are receiving all the government support they qualify for. Do not wait for the crisis to discover the answers. The crisis is not the time to start the conversation. It is the time to execute a plan that already exists. Farid is 54, senior manager at a logistics company. He has done the right things. He has the full retirement sum in his retirement account. He has an investment portfolio. He has reviewed his coverage. He believes he has a plan. He has not planned for what it actually costs to be seriously ill in Singapore for 15 years. The Life Insurance Association's 2022 Protection Gap Study found that the average Singaporean working adult has a critical illness protection gap of 74%. 74. The total unfunded gap across the country for critical illness coverage alone is $579 billion. The recommended coverage is 3.9 times annual income, enough to replace 5 years of lost earnings during diagnosis and recovery. The average critical illness claim payout in Singapore, $52,343. For someone earning $5,775 a month, the median wage, the recommended coverage is $270,000. The average payout they will receive, $52,000. The shortfall, $218,000. Arriving at the worst possible moment. Cancer is the leading cause of death in Singapore. 26.2% of all deaths. Cancer, heart disease, and pneumonia together account for 71.7%. 1 in 3 heart attack patients experiences a recurrent cardiac event. The annual probability of stroke recurrence is between 5 and 15%. These are not remote scenarios. They are the statistical profile of living into your 60s and 70s in Singapore. Medical inflation in Singapore in 2026 is running at 16.9%. WTW's Global Medical Trends Survey, 346 insurers across 82 countries. The Asia-Pacific regional average is 14. The global average is 10.3. Singapore is above both. The basic healthcare sum, the MediSave ceiling, is $79,000 in 2026, fixed at that amount when you turn 65. At 16.9% medical inflation, the real purchasing power of that number erodes every year it sits there. Now the gap most people miss entirely. CareShield Life pays $689 a month if you become severely disabled and cannot perform 3 or more daily activities. The average monthly cost of a nursing home in Singapore is $2,952. The gap? $2,263. Every month, for however many years the disability lasts. That is not a rounding error. That is a second mortgage appearing at the exact moment income has stopped. Most Singaporeans know they have MediShield Life. Many have an integrated shield plan on top. They feel covered. What an IP covers is acute hospitalization. It does not pay your mortgage while you cannot work. It does not replace 12 months of lost income. It does not fund long-term residential care. It does not close the $2,263 monthly gap in CareShield Life. From April 1st, 2026, new IP riders can no longer cover the minimum deductible. Policyholders pay that themselves in cash or MediSave. Farid has MediShield Life and no supplementary plan. He has no financial answer for what happens if he needs full-time care at 72. His retirement plan covers the good years. It is completely silent on the hard ones. Go to the MOH Health Hub. Check your IP coverage specifically for long-term care versus acute hospitalization. They are different products covering different events. One covers the operation, the other needs to cover the decade that follows it. Jason is 29, developer, Jurong West. Monthly income $6,000. He knows exactly what compound interest does. He has explained it to his younger brother using a spreadsheet he built himself. He has not made a single CPF voluntary top-up. He has not opened his SRS account. He has been meaning to set up a monthly RSP for 7 months. He keeps saying next month. Here is what next month is costing him. $2,000 a month invested from age 29 at 7% annual return reaches approximately $5,200,000 at 65. The same $2,000 a month starting at 34, 5 years later, reaches $3,500,000. The difference is $1,700,000. Not from investing less, from starting 5 years later. From next month, repeated 60 times. He has not lost $1,700,000 yet. He is losing it right now, 1 month at a time. The Ministry of Finance reported 466,849 SRS account holders as of December 2024. Singapore's working citizen and PR population is approximately 2.4 million. 80% of working Singaporeans have never opened an SRS account. The annual SRS limit is $15,300 for citizens and PRs. Every dollar in reduces taxable income by $1. At 18%, that is $2,754 of immediate tax saving before the money earns a cent. At 22%, $3,366. And 19% of all money sitting inside SRS accounts in Singapore is in cash, earning 0.05% per annum while inflation runs above 2%. The people who opened the account and left the funds sitting did half the work and captured almost none of the benefit. The account is the vehicle. CSPX, VWRA, Singapore REITs. That is what goes inside it. An $8,000 voluntary CPF top-up at age 29, earning 4% compounded, becomes $31,500 at 65. The same contribution at 34 becomes $25,800, $1,700 less. From one contribution, one form, 11 minutes on the CPF website. 3 missed years of the $16,000 tax relief cap. $8,000 for himself, $8,000 for a parent, is $48,000 of assessable income taxed when it did not need to be. Open the SRS account today. DBS, OCBC, or UOB. It takes 20 minutes in the banking app. Set a standing instruction for $1,275 a month. That is the monthly amount to hit the $15,300 annual limit. Set a regular savings plan into CSPX. $100 a month starts the clock. Put the CPF top-up reminder in the calendar for the 20th of November. Not December, November, because December gets buried under everything else. The date matters more than the amount. Start the clock. 3 weeks after that Wednesday night, Kumar sat down with a fee-only financial advisor. Not someone selling him a product, someone who looked at the actual numbers with him for 2 hours. They found the accrued interest on his OA from 7 years of mortgage payments was $73,000. Not a disaster, it was going back into his retirement account earning 4%. But the cash windfall from selling his flat that he had always loosely imagined did not exist. They found he had made 0 voluntary CPF top-ups. 3 years of the $16,000 annual relief cap between him and his wife was $48,000 of income taxed at full rate for no reason. They found his SRS account had $500 in it from 2021, sitting in cash at 0.05%. They found his critical illness coverage was $80,000. His annual salary is $108,000. The LIA benchmark is 3.9 times that, $421,200. He was short by $341,000. They found his mother had no CareShield Life supplement. The gap between her basic payout and actual care costs, if that day came, was $2,263 a month. That would fall on Kumar. None of it was unfixable. All of it was visible only because he finally looked. He did not sell the car. He did not sell the flat. He did not upend his life. He started the CPF top-up that month. He reactivated the SRS and set the standing instruction. He raised the critical illness coverage. He had the conversation with his mother, the one they had both been avoiding for 3 years. The feeling was, I am doing fine. The plan is, I know exactly where I am, I know what the gap is, and I know which lever to move next. Those are not the same thing. Singapore gives you real instruments. CPF top-ups at 4% guaranteed. SRS with immediate tax relief. CSPX through a monthly RSP. CareShield Life supplements. These are not complicated. They are available in the apps on your phone right now. They only work if you use them before the number on the screen is too small, and the years to fix it are too few. So before you close this, log into cpf.gov.sg. Open the retirement dashboard. Find your projected monthly payout. Write it down. Then tell me in the comments. What is the gap between that number and what you actually need? Don't guess. Look.